Right now, there's an entrepreneur who is trying to be successful. They want to, they're making decisions. It's tough times. What advice do you have for that person?
Stop following gurus. Stop.
That's a fact.
Let me break this down to you, right?
Please, yeah.
So there are gurus who will sit in their garage and do their videos with their McLaren door open so that you can pay attention to their McLaren.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll convince you that 40, 50, 60 bucks will get you to $1 million. It will not. Right? This is the thing. Everybody has a high income skill. You have to figure out what that is, right? The second thing is stop listening to people who have never seen what you're trying to see, who have never done what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that they can tell me other than how to survive. I already understand how to survive. I'm a black man in America. What I need to understand is what I don't know. Teach me something. Everybody takes their skills and thinks, oh, everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I'm nothing special. Wrong. You are special.
Yeah.
Your core competencies, the things that make you you, the things that make you unique are special. Everybody's a unicorn, but most people don't realize it. The greatest weapon you have is to be yourself.
Pay attention and listen, we about to teach class. Inside the vault, my man Ash Cash. So get your man right. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. You see him, you change your life. Millionaire mindset, the best on earth. Blueprint, the wealth, the knowledge network. So get it while you can, and he's standing right here. Just come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.
All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. This next show, listen, if you don't have a pen, a paper, and get ready to take some notes, because we got some big business bars for you. We have one of the greatest business coaches on the planet, excluding nobody. You know, someone who's responsible for over $118 million in revenue for clients, serial entrepreneur. Yo, his resume's so long that I can't even tell you everything that this man has done. We have Mr. David Anderson, AKA Taz Daddy, AKA the business bully in the building. Yes. What's up, brother?
Bro, when you put it like that, it sounds like I done did all right.
Yo, listen. Man, I don't even know where to start, man, but before we even go into the resume, because you literally have done, you look like a young guy, but you've been in the game for a very, very long time. I mean, you're still a young guy, but you've been in the game for a very, very long time. You've done a lot of great things, a lot of notable brands, a lot of notable people that are popping right now today would not, now I wouldn't say they wouldn't exist, but you kind of helped usher a lot of superstars into stardom. So we want to talk about all that, but before we get there, for those who don't know, who is Dave Anderson?
Wow, I'm a kid from, the worst part of Philly. I went to literally the bottom ranked high school in America. I went to Martin Luther King High School. I got a 725 on my SATs because that's just not how my genius is. You feel me? I'm Cookie Anderson's baby boy. I'm Carl Anderson's pride and joy. And aside from that, I'm a big advocate for black people not depending on anybody but ourselves. And for me, that's been the thing, and I was doing that before everybody was like, oh, be black owned. Oh, is it black owned? Gotta be black owned. No, I really want to make an impact. And I feel the main thing that happens out here, Ash, is that people want to be pseudo famous. You know how if you're not quite a doctor, but you work in an ambulance, you're a
Legal.
No, paramedic.
Oh, see, look, you acting wrong.
Right? If you work in a lawyer's office, I'm gonna give you
out. Cut that out.
All right.
Paramedic. Got it.
All right. If you work in a doctor, if you work in the medical field and you're in an ambulance, you're a
paramedic.
Right. Yeah. If you work in a law office, but you're not a lawyer, you're a
paralegal.
All right. So if you're on the internet renting a McLaren and renting an Airbnb and you're fronting like you're an entrepreneur, you're a parapreneur. Boom. So I'm dead set against parapreneurs, and I'm for our people actually doing the work. The work is not sexy, but the work is what actually generates wealth and abundance, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I want to talk about your background for a second, but I mean, since you brought it up, I know. I mean, we've interviewed someone recently that said, she was like putting out the products, the services. Her product works. She's making a lot of money. Nobody would buy her product or service. She bought a Bentley, and then all of a sudden, people started buying her product. So she's doing all this great business. Product is still the same. No one takes her serious. And her products and services are specifically for our people. All of a sudden, she buys a Bentley, shows the Bentley. Now everybody's like, oh, she popping. And so you talk about the parapreneur, but sometimes, in our community, you kind of got to show, like, what's your thoughts on that, showing the flash?
If I got to buy a Bentley in order for you to get my product, that tells me my marketing sucks.
Oh.
Like, and that's no diss. I don't know the lady, no disrespect.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I drive a Nissan Rogue. Could I buy A-Class? Sure. Could I do all that dumb stuff, have my McLaren in the garage and sell you $60 programs? Sure, I could.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I believe that there's a way to get that message out.
Yeah.
She could have taken that Bentley and either learned how to work with the media and get her story out and get the same amount of clout, because that's low budget clout chasing to me. So you buy something that depreciates in value in order to get your business up. So now it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. So you depleted a certain amount of revenue in order to make a certain amount of revenue, and you may or may not be at the break-even point when you could have easily taken 1/10 of that and then put it into marketing, put it into a media coach, put it into some acting lessons, understand the importance of paying a social media team to do the things that you need to do. You don't have to shortcut that. There's a different way to show receipts other than, oh, I got this Bentley. Yeah, and so therefore what? There's a lot of entrepreneurs, both male and female, whose wife is a doctor or whose husband owns a team, and then all of a sudden they get an influx of cash from the spouse. That doesn't mean that they're successful. It means what they're trying to do is create an image, and that can only last for so long, but the work speaks for itself. My work works, but I'm not knocking anybody if that's how they need to get to the mountain in order to impress people who will fly by night, because if they come for the Bentley, they're going to leave for the McLaren.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't subscribe to that theory. I understand it, but I don't like it.
And so we had a guest that actually talked about, her having a great product, putting the product out there, and our people weren't really supporting, her business. She gets a Bentley, not as a marketing ploy, but just to really she wanted to get this Bentley. She worked hard for it. She's making the money to be able to afford the Bentley. Right. And then all of a sudden, she posts her wins. And then she started seeing her business skyrocket. And so there's other people out there that see, oh, you know what? If I post, my, things that I own, the cars, the clothes, whatever, people will jump on my business. Even if my business is valuable, people will jump on it. And so I appreciate that you say, but I just wanted to kind of mention that, because I know there are, and why do you think that, though, right? Why do you think that in our community, it takes us to show things in order for us to believe that somebody's doing some stuff, right? So, because for me, I was a CEO of a credit union. Right. I'm not the guy that shows things, but there's people who have less credentials than I have in the finance space. Yeah. But because they show their things, people are like, oh yeah, he's the guru. And I'm like, yo, I ran a whole bank. A whole bank. And so why do you think that for our people, we have to prove ourselves with things instead of receipts and credentials?
The whole style of a substance thing for Black people goes back to slavery, right? So when Master or Mrs. Got rid of clothes, they would give them to their slaves, and on Sunday they would wear the best of those rags. That's where the whole Sunday best comes into, because that's the only place on the plantation where you had any position of power, unless you're an overseer. Do you follow what I'm saying? And so everything becomes about what is accepted, right? So then when we start to see people being freed or buying freedom, then it's, you got to show your papers, right? You got to show your credentials. That's why we love saying, oh, I have all of these degrees. So you have this thing that's deeply rooted in our DNA for survival and acceptance, because we were split up, our religions were taken from us, our languages were stripped from us. And so we're trying to hold on to a certain level of self-respect that we had not experienced since we were kidnapped from the motherland. And so now you have all of these businesses, right? Because there's a different type of slavery now. You have all of these businesses marketing towards us in a way that says, if you don't have this, if you don't wear this, if you don't drive this, if you don't live in this particular zip code, then you're absolutely not worth anything. And so that's what it comes down to. So there's two things that we tend to fight for more than any other people publicly. We fight to be popular, right? And we fight for white adjacency. You know, we want to be that brother next to whomever, right? As opposed to being who we are and standing firm in that. Here's the thing, Ash, and I hope that you understand what I'm about to say. I don't care if you like me. I'm not here to be liked. I wasn't liked in high school. I don't care. You want to know why? Because I don't remember anybody in high school, with like 3 exceptions. Right. It didn't, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't hold on to that stuff, right? I am focused on creating legacy. And that's it. If you like it, cool. If you rock with me, I'm so happy. If you buy my books, thank you so much. But my whole thing is, I decided to free myself a very long time ago from other people's expectations who are not feeding or financing me, right? And that's just how I feel. But that's where it comes from. And we need to get on people's couches, you know, who can help us work through that trauma, because that's what it is. It's a trauma response.
No, I love that. I love that. And so, you know, talk to us about some of your you know, your accomplishments, right? And so, because you've had a very vast career, television, radio, business, marketing. I mean, you name it. You know, run it down to us.
Wow. I started my career at 9. I did radio. Went from radio till about 15, and then did a show on CBS Saturday morning called Candid Kids Club, right, which was cool. It got me an audition to do Wild and Crazy Kids. They actually gave that to Omar Gooding. Big what? What are you gonna do, right? Same tribe though, like down here, same tribe. But what are you gonna do? Aside from that, I went to college. Went to the great Temple University. And they took away our radio station, right? They gave it to white folks because they wanted to do classical music to make more money, right? So I petitioned the president of the university, and I said, listen, I'm paying all this money in tuition out of pocket, working work-study jobs. Like, I need a radio station. And he said, okay, as long as you just don't keep coming to my office, I'll give you whatever you want. Like, I held him hostage, you know? And so I started a radio station called Whip Radio. So you fast forward 20 some odd years later, thousands of students have been there, professionals that couldn't get radio jobs other places, work at Whip Radio as mentors and GMs and things of that nature. I had to do an internship requirement. And I had a friend of mine at the time who was working at a Radio 1 station. And so she was like, I'll introduce you to the morning show producer. I met the guy. He was real standoffish, a little extra. I don't remember his name. But what happened was, he did not get me the information I needed to get the internship. So I was like, okay, you gonna play that game? Cool. So I called his GM, right? So I went over the program, I went straight to the GM. I said, look, I'm at ad drop period. I need to get this internship. He said, well, I can't force him to put you on the morning show, but I can stick you in promotions. So I wound up stacking t-shirts. I did that for about a month, and then I found the morning show host, a guy named Tony Richards, right? I said, Tony, whatever you need, I'm going to do it. Whenever you need something, I'm going to do it. So he sends his producer, the guy who was supposed to give me the internship to me. The dude was like, I need you to be here at 5 a.m. This person likes coffee with 2 creams, 2 sugars. This person likes black coffee with Splenda. This person likes black coffee with Equal. This person likes Equal Splenda and a splash of Irish cream. Right, so I had that, everybody's donuts, everybody's bagels, the whole nine, and I was there at 4 a.m. Kept trying to get me out of the studio. Well, that guy lost his job in a month, and I had it, making me the youngest morning show producer in a major market ever, black or white. You know, so that folded. I did mornings that day, went back to Temple, did my final, and that afternoon I was cross town doing afternoons with a guy named D. Lee who owned a comedy club known as the Laugh House. So without the Laugh House, there's no Kevin Hart. All of the like black comedy wasn't really a thing on the East Coast until D. Lee made it one. And so I stuck with D, and that's how I started my stand-up career, learning how to write, timing, things of that nature. And he was the first person to show me, you know, that the show is the misdirection. It's the food, it's the liquor, you know, it's creating the type of environment where people will want to come over and over and over again, right? It's setting 2 item minimums, that type of thing. And so when I went to Power 99 with D. Lee, they had brought in Wendy Williams, and then D and Wendy did the morning show. I became an associate producer for that. Wendy lovingly fired me, said, listen, kid, you too hungry? Cats ain't going, they're not giving up their spots. Yeah. You gotta go. Yeah. You know, and she said, the next time I see you, you'll be successful. And I was devastated because I'm living my dream, right? So I'm coming out tears streaking, like, you know what I'm saying? And I called my mom. My mom was like, well, who else can you call? And I thought about it for a minute. I wiped my tears and I called Russ Parr. Russ Parr said, send me your tape. I gave him my tape. He said, give me 20 minutes. 15 minutes later, I get a call from a station in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I fly down there. I do afternoons, set a record, left there, came home. D. Lee rescues me again. A lady he was with at the time was working for a small company called PromoWorks. PromoWorks had a product that nobody had ever heard of. It was in a teeny tiny can. And they were competing with Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had a product called 180, right? And 180 was an energy drink. So this company, PromoWorks, was promoting a product that nobody had ever heard of called Red Bull, right? And they had these trucks, and you go out in the trucks and you give it to business people and things of that nature. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, no, I want to take this to the strip club. So I took it to the strip club. Wow. I gave it to the strippers. Wow. I gave it to the DJs. I'd hop over the bar and start using it as a mixer. So if you've ever had a Red Bull and vodka, you're welcome. Wow. I went to the Sixers game because the Red Bull outfits looked so much like the Sixers uniforms at the time. Iverson was hot. So I'm giving it to Iverson. You know, I go to the TV stations. I give it to the newscasters. I go back to the radio station I was fired from. I'm giving it to the night jocks. I'm giving it to my old program directors. Everybody strung out on Red Bull. So they took that model and ran with it. Then Red Bull absorbed PromoWorks, and then dumb me, I go back to radio. You know, Red Bull is what it is. So like there's all that, and then you know, up and down the dial, 19 states, that type of stuff. Wound up doing radio at CBS in Austin, so I'm the only black guy there. So it's a black guy doing a hip hop station with a bunch of Mexicans, and I had a white boss. So they're like, every time something happens, hey, what you think it is, Holmes? I'm like, yeah, I don't know that, bro. I think that's hot, bro. So I get out of there. I wound up going to K104 in Dallas. Right? And
fetch out the K104, because I think right now I do DD in the morning every Monday.
I love DD. I love DD, man. Right, K104 was an amazing experience for me. I have what I call Puffy syndrome. You remember when Puffy...
It's that Scorpio thing.
Yeah, I'm November 19th. You already know I got Puffy syndrome. Like, I'm hot. There's nothing I can't fix. There's nothing I can't do. I have an insane belief in myself because that's what my mother put in me. That way, I would just kick the crack vials out of the treads of my Timberlands as opposed to selling the crack vials on the block. So I believe in me. And so... Skip Cheatham, love Skip Cheatham. Shout out to Skip. What up, Skip? He came to me one day. He was like, "Homeboy, yo, yeah, man, I gotta let you go." I was like, "What?" He was like, "You inconsistent." I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm inconsistent, Skip." He was like, "Yeah, you inconsistent." I said, "Okay, so when you went to LA," I said, "You the coach, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "So you the coach?" I said, "This is the team." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm the most inconsistent player." He says, "Yeah." I said, "All right, bro." I said, "If I'm the most inconsistent player, why would you put the most inconsistent player in your spot while you went to LA?" And then I left. I wasn't mad. I was like, thanks for the opportunity. I fly to Detroit to go watch WrestleMania. I come back from Detroit. I call Doug Banks. God rest Doug Banks, right? Wherever you are, Doug, thank you. Doug was like, "Kid, I got you. You're going to Radio 1. He was like, "Just give him your tape. I know that once they hear your tape, it's over with." So I give him the tape. And they say, "Yeah, we don't really have anything on air, but like your production's crazy. We already know who you are. So you can do production stuff here, and well, we're going to need your help with the morning show. You got morning experience. We already know." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool." And I'm like, "Well, who's the morning show?" 'Cause I'm not really paying attention. It's like, "Oh, it's Ricky Smiley." I was like, "Bet." Ricky Smiley paid me when I was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He gave me time because in Fayetteville, North Carolina, if you've never been, At the time, it was real conservative, and I do a lot of blue humor. I cuss a lot, right? So he was like, I'll pay you out my pocket. I don't give a damn, right? So I'm like, all right, bet. So fast forward, that producer was doing enough to get by, but it wasn't enough to go into syndication. I fast forwarded through some things. So like I had DJ Clue in syndication in the weekend show. We were in like 200 markets, you know, so I understood syndication from a weekend perspective, and I knew a little bit about morning from syndication, but I didn't know if I could take it there. But I was like, yes, I can.
Yeah.
And so that's what it was. Ricky was like, look, we're going to beat K104.
Yep.
I want syndication. And they're like, well, how are we going to beat K104? Well, you know, the kid over there was over there. He was working with their morning show. Like, let's plug him in.
Yeah.
So they plugged the kid in at an extreme discount. And, you know, 30 markets later, it was on and cracking.
Wow.
You know, so fastest growing morning show in history.
Nice.
You know, I mean, say what you want about Ricky. Ricky's an icon. You know, Ricky wanted to do a sitcom because, you know, Steve did a sitcom, Jamie Foxx did a sitcom. He wanted to do a sitcom. I said, bro, that's not the move. I said, we need to do a reality show. Oh, ain't nobody gonna do no reality show. So Ricky Anderson, who was his agent, gave me a budget, found me some folks out of Houston. We shoot this reality show. That blueprint is what you now see. A version of it is now what you would call Ricky Smiley for real. So his sitcom on TV One tanked. But that reality show, top rated show on TV One. I think behind Unsung.
Right.
So, you know, that type of stuff. A lot of times when you grow, what happens is people start to see dollar signs. And the quickest way to get yourself to dollar signs is to break up a unit. You know, so me and Ricky were Starsky and Hutch, Batman and Robin, you know, ice cream and cookies, whatever. And it was like, oh, you know, well, the kid's doing that. Well, the kid's got a book now. And, you know, I think he's doing all this other stuff he shouldn't be doing. And I was writing books way before, you know, I was thinking about anybody's morning show.
Right.
And so there was that stuff. And then there were conversations about, you know, well, Ricky's a little bit, you know, extra. You got to stop this. You got to stop that. I'm 28 years old, bro. And I'm like, I can't stop a grown man from being a grown man.
Right.
But I can work around it because I don't want them to fire him, because it was like, you know, if it's not Ricky, you walk in there one day and it'll be Cedric the Entertainer, you know, or it'll be D.L. Hughley, or it'll be Rudy Rush. And I'm like, oh, no, they bluffing. So I called Rudy Rush. He was like, no, they ain't bluffing. They called me. So I'm like, oh, damn. So on one hand, it's like I got my job.
Right.
And it's like, this is my man's in there.
Right,
you know, like, so how do I protect him and then not lose this? So there was no way to do that. So conflict happened. We fall out. And at that point, I'm Radio Tupac. So it's like, oh, Dave, you know, Dave lost y'all. Oh, first, and then he just popped back up. Well, first off, up your click in the, you know what I'm saying? It's just real quick, you know? And so everybody thought I was good. They just thought I was laying low. So I was laying so low, I wound up homeless. Do you know what it's like to be fat and homeless in a very nice city?
Wow.
It's horrible. Because ain't nobody trying to feed you. You know, your cardboard a little too nice. So I wound up homeless. And it was horrible because, you know, you don't ever want to be fat and homeless. Like, do you know what it's like to be fat and homeless with a fresh haircut after living in a 2,500 square foot apartment in Arlington, Texas? Yeah, bro, it's not nice. First of all, the other bums is like, look at you. You rich, you ain't got no problems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your cardboard too nice. You went to the dollar store, got you a Sharpie. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to feed you. Look, you look like you could miss a meal anyway. You don't even stink. So, you know, I wound up getting a gig, setting appointments for a payment processor, right? So I started learning about ISOs and MSPs and all these things. And I wound up...
What's an ISO? What's an MSP?
Oh gosh, man. So that is a merchant service provider. Okay. And I forget what ISO is. You're asking me to go back 12 years. Okay. But what I was learning at the time was about the importance of there's money to be made.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to make the money. All you got to do is give them the machine and you get a cut. To me, I was like, oh. And that's all I could say was, oh. You know what I mean? So I go home, tail between my legs. I'm depressed. You know, and I said, well, look, the one time I'm happy is when I'm performing and I'm educating folks. So I said, well, look, you know, if I can do, you know how Jay-Z said, oh, they say they made a Jay-Z, will make another one?
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I'm gonna just go ahead and make myself. And so I went to Blog Talk and I did a show, but I still had a Rolodex full of people's information. So, you know, on Tuesday night it's Maxwell, on Wednesday night it's Queen Latifah, on Thursday it's Talib Kweli, and my numbers are just killing.
Wow.
Right? So my
Yeah.
socials going nuts.
And so Blog Talk is podcasting before podcasting. Like
way
that
before.
Was, yeah.
Way before you had to do it on the phone.
I remember Blog Talk.
Yeah, you had to do it
Blog
on the
Talk
phone.
Radio. Yeah.
So you know, you're on the phone with it the whole nine, and so I'm also doing on a webcam so that like you can see me, and I'm doing all this other stuff way before anything was like really crazy.
Wow.
Trying to get my YouTube numbers up.
Yeah.
Long story short, a buddy of mine says, "Hey, there's this company that I think you should partner with. I think you can help them. They're out of Italy, and they just need somebody like you who's, you know, charismatic, got the connections, the whole nine." And that company was called Spreaker. You know, so a guy named Francesco Bascieri started that company, and I partnered with them. And then, you know, I went and, you know, got Big Tigger and a couple of other folks, and we, you know, we're just rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And one day, Clear Channel called and said, "Listen, we like what you're doing on social. How do you do it?" I said, "I'll tell you as long as you pay me."
Yeah.
And so I became the first director of social media. They had social networking managers, but they never had a director of social media.
Yeah.
So I came in, became director of social media, and for me, it was at that point that
And Clear Channel's what now?
it's iHeart.
Okay.
Right? So it was at that point that I realized that I didn't want to just spin records, talk trash, take pictures. I wanted to be something bigger.
Yeah.
I wanted to be something better, and I wanted to be something where I was making the money, because I looked at what the jocks were driving.
Yeah.
I looked at what I was driving, then I looked at what the GM was driving. I looked at what the general sales manager was driving.
Yeah.
I looked at what the regional sales manager was driving, and they were driving nice stuff, and don't nobody know their names.
Exactly.
None of that.
Yeah.
So everybody all hyped up. Oh, listen, I got $3,000 to do this remote at the strip club.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
But they just made $3,000 right now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I started pushing certain things, and I was still doing my podcast, and they were like, "Well, you know, that's a gray area." And I was just like, "How is it a gray area? Like, it's a podcast, this is radio, those are two different things." And they were like, "Yeah, okay, we're gonna go in a different direction." I was like, "Okay, well, I don't know what direction you wanna go to other number one." But at that point I made a decision. Charlemagne calls me and he says, "Yo, they let go of the midday girl. You know, you know, if they don't give you that, they're hating." I said, "No, they fired me too." Like 5 minutes after they fired the midday girl. And I said, "Bro, you're the first person I'm telling this. I ain't told my mama, I ain't told my girl. I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm 34 years old. I'm not giving, I gave them from 9 to 34. That's 25 years. I'm done." Right? And he was like, "Okay, bro."
Right.
So I'm sitting there trying to figure it out, and I said, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I said, looked at my bank account at $20 in it, right? I go to GoDaddy, get me a website for $12. And I said, only thing I can do is make 100 phone calls a day.
Yeah.
So I start calling, you know, because I can design websites, I can do voiceovers, I got all of these skills and relationships, and that's what I did, and that's how I started to build what is now known as the Business Bully.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a story. That's a wonderful story. And so now fast forward, you're one of the top business coaches on the planet. You help develop businesses, brands, $118 million. Not totally, but in 2020.
2020.
Talk about that for us a little bit.
Here's the thing, Ash. Once you divorce yourself from the stuff you like and do the stuff that's necessary, like we have this thing, I don't know when black people started falling in love with Kevin Costner. If you build it, they will come. No, they won't.
Right.
They ain't coming.
Right.
They don't know you.
Right.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what you have to do is start putting yourself in a position to win. That's one. Number two, everybody takes their skills and thinks, oh, everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I'm nothing special. Wrong. You are special.
Yeah.
Your core competencies, the things that make you you, the things that make you unique are special. Everybody's a unicorn, but most people don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're cutting their horn off to spite their face. They're trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, be bold with it. Right? I had a couple here in Atlanta named the Gibsons, and they said, listen, my husband, his wife says, listen, my husband went to the store and there wasn't no toilet paper. And I was like, okay. I said, so what's the play? She was like, we want to make toilet paper. You know, we made some calls, this, that, and the third. I said, well, that supplier's a little too expensive. Call this supplier here. I was like, do we have a name? Well, no, not really. I said, okay, we'll come up with a name, right? And I study a lot of great people, right? Barry Gordy made sure that he named his groups things that matter. The Temptations, the Supremes, the Four Tops. Right. Like there's an energy there. You know what I'm saying? It states excellence, right? Yeah. So we came up with Triumph Tissue. Triumph Tissue's killing it. Ask Ludacris who he wipes his ass with. Ooh. You feel me? Ooh. Like that's what you do. You create a situation, you find the holes and you plug them. Pause.
Hey yo.
Hey yo. But seriously, like we look at opportunities as this big old thing. No, bro, truckloads of toilet tissue. We got the graphic designer to do a logo. We made sure it was purple and gold because those are regal colors. You know, shout out to the Qs. I'm not one, but just regal colors. It's a smart move from a brand perspective. Right. You know, and they're rolling. There was a lady.
Literally, they're rolling.
Yeah, they're rolling in paper.
Right.
You feel me? There was a lady named Anissa Getna. She had a credit repair business, but she was extremely educated. So we flipped that business into 5. You know, so we've got a concierge credit service. We're doing moves in Dubai. You know, and she's killing it. You know, she's literally about to pop. I think they're going to induce labor in a couple of days, and like she can't even keep up with the amount of revenue coming in. Wow. You know, and that's the thing. The other part of it is, Ash, I'm tired of excuses, bro. Oh, I need a team. Sure, yes, I agree with that. You definitely need a team. You'd be amazed what you can get with $400 from the Philippines. You'd be amazed at what you can get for $500 in India. You know, like you keep trying to go domestic when every multi-millionaire I know is outsourcing the stuff that's not in their core competencies to another country where people are skilled and your money goes far. If you think I'm lying, go to Manila with $10,000 and watch how you ball out. You will look like 10 Scarfaces.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to start being creative. And finally, this situation of trying to figure out how to fix ourselves. We don't need to fix ourselves. I'm not trying to be anything other than what I am. Listen, exclusive. Dave Anderson is not organized. I'm not. Right. You know? But one of my best friends from college, when everybody was laughing at me when I told them my dreams, she was like, don't laugh, Dave's going to do everything on that list. And I've only missed one thing, and I still got a couple of years to do it. I'm going to headline Madison Square Garden without rapping, singing, or telling jokes. You know, everything else on that list I've done. Naming Lights, best-selling book, TV, the whole 9.
How many books?
21, but only 20 of them were consistently bestsellers. The first one, because the first one was fiction, and don't nobody come to me for fiction. Right. I ain't Stephen King. You know what I mean?
So 21 books, 20 bestsellers.
20 consecutive back-to-back number ones on Amazon, absolutely. Okay, man. Okay. So for me, I want us to start looking at our possibilities and stop focusing on our limitations. I don't have, how do I get it? You know, I just need, okay, how do I get it? You know, what can I do? Who can I serve? Once we do that, man, everything else falls into place, bro.
No, I love it. And then so right now, right, so you help clients make over $118 million during 2020, during the pandemic, during one of the worst times in the country's history. Right now, there's an entrepreneur who is trying to be successful. They want to, you know, kind of, you know, they're making decisions. It's tough times. What advice do you have for that person?
Stop following gurus. Stop.
That's a fact.
Let me break this down. Please. Yeah. So there are gurus who will sit in their garage and do their videos with their McLaren door open so that you can pay attention to their McLaren. Right? And they'll convince you that 40, 50, 60 bucks will get you to $1 million. It will not. Right? This is the thing. Everybody has a high income skill. You have to figure out what that is, right? The second thing is stop listening to people who have never seen what you're trying to see, who have never done what you're trying to do. Listen, I come from a slum. Where I come from, it's no such thing as, you know, box seats for real. There's no such thing as flying private. There's no such thing as, you know, $500 shirts. There's no such thing as real wealth building activities. It's hand to mouth trying to survive. So there's nothing that they can tell me other than how to survive. I already understand how to survive. I'm a black man in America. What I need to understand is what I don't know. Teach me something. And in exchange for that, I will give you my time, I will give you my energy, I will give you my respect, I will give you my loyalty. I have failed my way to success by serving other people, by sitting at the foot. I wanted to be one of the best speakers in the world, so then I sat up there and I helped Les Brown build his social media up. You understand?
Yeah.
So then when Les would take me on tour, I would watch him, and I said to him one day, Mr. Brown, he said, Les. I said, Les? He said, yes. I said, Mr. Brown? He said, Les. I said, yes. Mr. Brown, how do you do it? He says, how do I do what? I said, how do you stop the nerves? He said, no. And he fell out. He said, I'm always nervous. Every time I'm always, I said, but I saw you when I was a kid, Georgia Dome, PBS special. They don't let black men in a room full of white people on PBS.
Yeah.
And he was like, nervous then too? Nervous now. He was like, if you're not nervous, you shouldn't do it because you're not living.
Wow.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, how do you write your speeches? He said, no. Don't do that. He was like, what I do is I read, and I read this many books. And I don't remember how many it was, but I was like, I need to do more than that.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, I need to do more than that.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, and I read 104 books a year, which is 2 books a week.
Wow.
And the reason I do that is because I want to know what I need to know.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you don't stretch your brain, you become useless. And I don't want that. My father died of Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm deathly afraid of that. So I started realizing that if you read, if you have stats on deck, then you can flow, then you can experience. He said also, go out into the audience, shake their hands ahead of time. Don't sit backstage in the green room. Ain't nothing going on back there but ego. Be with the people. Don't be above your station. You know what I'm saying? When I lived in North Carolina, a guy named Dre said, Dave, don't ever be afraid of your own people.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I love my people. And sometimes love is telling you you're messing up. This isn't how it's supposed to be. And so the one thing that I want folks to understand is it's possible if you're willing to do the work. If you're willing to forego the luxury. See, we want all the luxuries now. And we also want success. That's not how that works. What happens is, get rid of your cable. Why are you spending that much time watching TV when you got a vision? Right? Also, you'd be amazed what you can do.
Television when you got a vision. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, it's all good, bro.
It's a bar. It's like,
it's a bar. I feel
you watching television,
but you got a vision. You'd be amazed at what you can do when your daughter comes to you with tears in her eyes.
Ooh.
And I was working and I was doing okay, but I wasn't doing Howard University cash money okay. And I was like, look, you can go to Temple. I'm connected. I'm that guy. Like Temple University, TUMF is Dave Anderson. You're good. She was like, that's not my dream, Daddy. I gotta go to Howard or I'll die. Now my kid is not one to ever say or I'll die.
Wow.
And if you have a little girl, and she comes to you with that type of conviction, I got a whole lot of, I'm gonna figure this the hell out real quick. So she graduated high school in 2017. I did the first BullyCon in August of 2017. I paid her tuition with the BullyCon. You understand what I'm saying? And that's my biggest flex is the fact that I spent over $100,000 on her education so that she comes out drug-free, debt-free, drama-free. And that's that. But when you eliminate the excuses, the only possible excuse is success. And that's that, man.
Ooh, I love it. And so talk to David Anderson's 18-year-old self, right? Because you started business very early, right? You were on the radio 9 years old, child actor. You were doing so much, right? And then now all this experience, all of what you've been able to do, the successes for yourself, right? And your clients. Go back to young 18-year-old Dave Anderson. What advice are you giving him?
Wow. The greatest weapon you have is to be yourself. I'm trying not to cry, I swear to God. Because I was always the weird kid. I read too much. I put ing on the ends of my words. I spoke the King's English, whatever the hell that is. And what I've learned at 43 that I didn't know at 18, that being cool is just conformity with really great PR, right? In other words, everybody wants you to fit in when you're made to stand out. I'm not going to fit in anywhere. You know, I'm not meant to. I am meant to go through what I'm going to go through, and I don't want to change that path because all of those things, me, you know, losing that gig in Fayetteville led me to Red Bull. Me being there led me, you know, to so many other things. Like, you know, like, so you don't want to alter the course, but I want to give comfort to people to realize it's okay to be the weird kid. It's okay to be the person that people don't get. You know, I look at folks like Michael Jackson. He was weird. You know what I'm saying? Edison was weird, had a learning disability. You know, they say Kanye was nuts. I want to be 650 billion nuts. Straight up and down. So like that would be my only advice. Like, just double down on being yourself and be okay with that.
No, I love that, and that's actually so powerful. Because, you know, you said something earlier about, you know, not following gurus. And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with that message, is because the reason people are following gurus is because they see the guru and they believe that the guru has something that they do not have. So they need to follow that guru to get something that they actually already have. Because the truth of the matter is that guru is that guru because of who they are to themselves, and they're trying to teach you something that they really cannot teach, right? And the truth of the matter is that when you are unapologetically yourself, people actually gravitate to you more because, you know, you are actually giving what Marianne Williamson said, like, you are giving them permission to be themselves. And so I love that advice. And so with all of the you know, success that you've had, all of the money that you've made, multi-millionaire, you know, after being a fat homeless guy, right?
Yeah, not bad, right?
Not bad.
That bounce back is
That bounce back is good. What would you say is the most extravagant thing you've done with money so far?
Wow, the most extravagant thing I've done with money. Two things. When I was a kid, I was teased for my glasses and my bobos. You know,
What's a bobo?
Bobos. They cost $1.49. Bobos. They make your feet feel fine. You could get them in the supermarket. There was racks. You know, at the end caps of supermarkets used to be filled with these bargain basement shoes. My mom had 2 boys that ate like runaway slaves, so guess what? You know what I'm saying? Like, bobos, right? And then I knew my vision was bad when in first grade, the last spelling word I couldn't get was table. I always got confused with E-L and L-E. And it was like, yo, Dave, it's on the board. And I'm looking, and I cried because I couldn't see. You know, so I had these glasses, but they were thick. You know, my mom sat me down and she showed me Stevie Wonder and she showed me Elton John. And so the one thing I spent a lot of money on, my shoes and my specs. You know, but, you know, making sure like my family's good is like, that's what I spend my money on. So over $100K for my kids' education, make sure that my mother's good. You know, I'm about to retire my brother from the police force. Like, you know, to me, that's extravagance, you know, and then the little things I spend on like the fruits of my labor, things of that nature. When I say me, I mean the company, because Dave Anderson is a poor man. I am poor.
Right.
Listen, I'm struggling. Can y'all, can somebody give me some, any of y'all, no? Somebody give me a sandwich? It'd be nice. Listen, I'm struggling out here. I'm the working poor. The companies, they do well.
And why is that important? Why? Because that's actually a wealth principle, and I don't want no, you know what I'm saying? So like, what the Rockefeller say? Own nothing, control everything. Talk like, don't, you know what I'm saying? You talking to me. So don't give me that wealth principle. Don't block it and then just go over that, man.
We'll talk about the homeless.
Let's talk about that. Why is that important?
It's important because as a person, right, you'll get a certain amount of money and then they'll tax your ass. Right? But if the business makes that amount of money and you become an S corp, then you can pay yourself a reasonable salary. You know, but having a whole bunch of stuff and being like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, look at my stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? You're flexing, you moron. You bought a McLaren, you idiot.
Right.
Now they're looking at you.
Right.
And I'm sorry, there are a lot of gurus out there. We're just gonna be honest, and you know I am. There's a lot of gurus out here that got themselves a nice little PPP lick, don't have ne'er an employee. And the I, the R, and the S are coming your way. Right? I spend things like I spend a lot of money, my company spends a lot of money on attorneys and accountants. The problem is a lot of us so-called black business owners, we treat attorneys and accountants as accessories. So I make sure that my business is hemmed up so that, the individual is okay. Because you sue me, you ain't gonna get much.
Right.
You can sue the business if you want to, but those contracts, those tapes, those recordings, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a mountain of evidence, Cochran style, when we get to court, if you really want to get to court.
The business bully. They don't call you the business bully for no reason.
You know bully's an acronym?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Most people don't. Black unapologetically living and loving yourself.
Ooh, that's a bar. Black unapologetically living and loving yourself.
Right, because for so long I hated me. I hated me. I hated everything about me. So I put on the Taz Daddy coat, because Taz Daddy could go in there and host a show and kick ass and say things to Megan Good like, what color are your panties? Like, that guy could do that. Dave Anderson couldn't do that. And what I realized was my real superpower wasn't the cape. It wasn't the show. It wasn't the microphone. The real superpower was me being myself. And so I decided to fall in love with me. How can you expect anybody to be your fan if you're not your number one fan? How can you expect anybody to buy your books, come to your seminars, go to your classes, anything, if you aren't studied, if you aren't well approved? And I don't mean studied like, degrees. I'm not on that. But really taking the time to care for yourself. What does that look like for you? And who has to go out of your life for you to truly fall in love with yourself? Because sometimes the people that you might be sleeping with the enemy. Trust me, I've been there. I don't know where she is either. That's the thing. Like, I believe self-love is one thing that has made me successful. I love me, and I'm falling in love with who I'm becoming every single day.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. And so, what advice would you give to somebody right now who has a 9-to-5, who wants to be an entrepreneur? They're dibbling and dabbling. They don't know what the first step to take. What would you tell that person?
Buddy of mine named Farnsworth Bentley said to me, he said, Dave, I love everything about you except your hustle. I said, what you mean? He says, you love God? I said, absolutely. He said, God don't want no hustlers in the kingdom. The hustle is a dance. And I was like, damn. And what I've learned is, if you hustle on the side, then your side hustle is your side piece. And your side piece never gets as much attention as your main thing. So you're treating your 9-to-5 like your main thing instead of an investor in your main thing. So you have to change your mentality, and then you have to go after it a different way. Because you will work so hard just to get a bonus, right? I've had people come to me, well, Dave Anderson, you don't know what you're talking about. I make $200 an hour at my job is good. And by the way, they bring in the margarita machines and they play Jimmy Buffett. I'm like, well, whoopity damn do while you're wasting away in Margaritaville. How much did the guy who's writing your checks, the guy who signs it on the front, how much does he make off of you every hour if he's affording you to pay you $200 an hour? You see what I'm saying? We never look at it like that. Chris Rock gave the best bar I've ever heard. Shaquille O'Neal is rich. The guy who cuts his checks is wealthy.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it's always been about, if you're happy with your job and you love your job, by all means, don't come over here. This ain't what you want. But if you feel like there's something just beyond that red, something that you feel like is the thing that keeps you up at night, then there shouldn't be anything that'll stop you. There shouldn't be anything that should get in your way. And you don't stop until such time as that thing feeds the new dream. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm literally living in a game of Super Mario Brothers 1. You ever play Super Mario Brothers 1?
Yeah.
Now here's the gag, right?
Yeah.
You think it's a game.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It is business 101. Here's what happens. You start off, did it, you walk in, oh, mushroom, stomp. You know what I'm saying? Turtle, get out of here.
Right.
Climb the pole,
Right.
you go down into that pipe.
Right.
Right? You get down there and it's dark and all of a sudden the soundtrack changes. And then now you spewing out fireballs, you jumping over things, you hit the ball with the axe, and then you see this girl, she looks like the princess, and the first thing she says to you, hey Mario, sorry about that. Your princess is in another castle. So you leave there and then you do the same thing over and over and over again, right? So I just said, if I can just get the 40,000 in my business, and I got the 40,000 and I saw somebody's making 100. So I said, damn, if I could just get to 100. So I get to 100 and I'm like, damn, if I could just get to $1 million. And then I look and I'm like, damn, Gary Vee's doing 500 mil. There's always another, there is no final level. The final level is death.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, you can take comfort in the fact that your main job is to grow beyond what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm competing with 2020 Dave Anderson.
Yes.
You know, and 2021 Dave Anderson wants to kill the hell out of 2020 Dave Anderson.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. If you want it, go after it. If you don't step over here.
Yeah.
We ain't got time for side hustles.
Woo, man, barred up. All right. So we're gonna do our speed round.
Yeah.
We're gonna do our speed round. And so here inside the vault, we take banking terms and then we flip those into terminology that fits us in our show. Number one term, deposit slip. A deposit slip is, a piece of paper. You fill it out. You deposit money inside the bank. For us, a deposit slip is a money slip up, right? It's like a money mistake. Give me the biggest deposit slip that Dave Anderson, the business bully, has made so far.
Wow. In 2020, I spent, was it 2020? Yeah, 2020, I spent $13,000 on syndicated radio. And from that $13,000, I got $730 back.
Wow.
Yeah. I did it for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, I wanted to see if radio had any viability for what I was doing.
Yeah.
And two, I wanted to support somebody that I believed in. So it was money well spent.
Yeah.
But it's $13,000 and I only made $730. God. Woo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
13,000. I'm sorry.
And so why was that? Is radio not the place to spend money anymore? Is it podcasting? Is it, because I know, that, we are friends in the room, David Banner.
Yes,
you were actually one of the biggest advertisers, or if not the biggest advertising.
Period.
Look, that's it. Look. The
Right.
Of the David Banner podcast. So
Right.
is that the way to spend money? Is it Facebook ads? Like is radio just dead?
Here's the math.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want, because there are people who will look at this and, oh well, because radio chewed him up and spit him out. He's bitter. No, I'm not. I'll buy your station. That's not the point. Here's the thing, right? If a commercial comes on, let's just deal with this, right? You're in your car. Ash Cash is in his whip, one of many, and he's like, the jam's going. He's the DJ comes on. Yeah, hot, whatever hell. And this is such and such, and we're gonna pay some bills. And we'll be right back. What's Ash Cash do?
I'm going to the next station.
Right, and guess what? Ash Cash is not a pioneer in that. That is human behavior. Human psychology here is pay some bills. Oh, commercials. I don't want to hear commercials.
Yeah.
So once you pay for a rate of commercials, once you pay for that block of programming, once that commercial is run, that's it. Now with a podcast, that commercial is there forever. Forever, ever.
Yeah.
Forever, ever. Yes. Right. So for me to invest in the David Banner podcast, it just made sense. The numbers were great. The guests were great. And David Banner believed in me when I couldn't do anything for him. When I could no longer program a station and put like a pimp on or put play on, and David Banner would buy out the Olive Garden and bring the whole station through. Like when I could no longer do that, he was still my friend.
Yeah.
When I ballooned up to 561 pounds and I saw Banner started losing weight, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? And he was like, I said, dude, I can't do half the stuff you do in the gym. I was like, what do I do? He said, Dave, just walk every day.
Yeah.
Watch what you eat. Just walk every day. Watch
Yeah.
what you eat. You know, when
And as a result of that, what happened?
Oh, I lost a crap ton of weight. I'm still losing weight.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The
yeah.
problem is I'm from Cheesesteak City, so
Philly.
you know, so I had to give those up.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but the thing of it is with those types of podcasts, right? With that type of long-term play, you build relationships with the podcast host, you build relationships with the podcast network, and then you get, you know, premium things. And then you realize that, okay, if I spend this much money with Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, for example, then I know that people who watch this show, you know, are entrepreneurial minded.
Yep.
I know that they care about what I care about. There's got to be an alignment. When you are just throwing spaghetti up against the wall, like with radio, some people just might be a kid on their way to high school.
Right.
That's not my audience.
Right.
Some people may be a dude that is the factory foreman. That's not my audience.
Yeah.
I know that people are going to listen to Banner because Banner's an entrepreneur. You want to know how I know? You ever see them Blackfish shirts? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You see them Blackfish slides? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You see that God box? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look at the stuff I do on my YouTube channel, you'll look in the corner and you'll see very specific things, right?
Yeah.
I call them my totems, right? So I've got a Tony Stark gauntlet, right? I've got Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Championship, and then I have the God box. You know, those are totems.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one who has totems.
Yeah.
David Banner's brand,
Yeah.
you know, are totems for a lot of people. It is a beacon.
Yeah.
And so you want to find places to put your money where your money will turn over time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And not to mention, it is a lot cheaper for me to give Ash 3,000 and know that that 3,000 is going to net me 300 over a year versus giving a radio company 13,000 and make $730. I mean, that's just money in and money out.
Right,
You know, so
yeah.
that's that. You want to be able to stick your place someplace, and also don't forget the importance of title sponsorships. You know, the Business Bully presents Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. You know, we should do that. That sounds good.
If for the right price, I even make your tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like, if for the right price.
Listen.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And so you begin to play a different level of game with it.
No, I love that. Second term, charge off. A charge off is when you borrow money from the bank, you don't pay it back, and because you don't pay it back, they try to get the money, but eventually they say, you know what, I ain't never gonna get this money, I'm charging it off. Here inside the vault, a charge off are what type of people or mindsets did you have to charge off during your journey?
Wow. There were people who I call genetic relatives, who didn't get what I was doing because they come from a different type of era. And I'll put it to you like this. The first iPhone don't look nothing like an iPhone 12. You understand?
Yeah.
Same brand, different build. It can't fathom what that looks like. So you have to understand that your elders and certain people in your life can only look at things from an iPhone 1 perspective when you are an iPhone 12. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
So they don't get it. It don't compute to them.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault,
Yeah.
but you got to love them from a distance.
Yeah.
Because I don't need anybody telling me what I can't do. I got white supremacy doing that. I got the government doing that. I got people I used to grow up with doing that. I don't need you to tell me that.
Yeah.
You know, so I charge off anything and anybody, you know, who doesn't believe wholeheartedly in what Dave Anderson has to offer. I don't need that energy around me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I can afford to not be bothered with it.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to get to.
Yeah.
You know, I have what I call unwidow bills. That means I got you money.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't need to worry about anything.
Yo, you can tell you for radio, you bleep yourself out. You know you can curse, but you.
Oh shit! The last 3 minutes of this show.
Look. Yo, he's bleeping himself out. He's like, yo, this is very.
Listen, you do anything for 25 years.
All right, last but not least. I really enjoyed this though. I enjoy you,
Thank you,
brother. Last but not least, ATM. ATM is where you put your card in, you request some money, and you get something out. ATM for us, we're requesting one more bar. Another teachable moment. ATM. One more bar. Look into that camera. Tell some people some things that's going to change their life forever. Something that they're not going to unhear. Something that's going to help them. All right, by four. I'm just trying to get hyped. But come on.
All right.
Another teachable moment. No pressure.
No pressure. Here it is.
Yeah.
People are fickle unless you consistently solve their problems. When you solve their problems over and over again, they will pay you over and over again. They will refer you over and over again. You will walk into rooms where no one will have to introduce you. Your reputation precedes you because you are a problem solver. Don't be a problem stater, be a problem solver. You don't need to worry about popularity when you solve problems. I'm real popular with problems. I am like Raid the Problems. They see me coming and they automatically know, Dave! If you solve problems, it's over with. You will never be broke. You will never be lonely. And then you have to examine your circle. Look around and ask yourself, what's this relationship doing to me? Is it making me better? You know what I'm saying? Like my wife ain't never got to worry about nothing ever, not ever. You know, because she believed in me when all I could do for her was fry her some sunflower seeds because I had absolutely no money. I swear to God. So she helped me solve problems for other people by taking over the things that I wasn't good at. And so that's the thing, man. Be a problem solver above all else. And you'll find your way. And extra bonus bar? Yeah. Stop trying to be great right now.
Oh.
It ain't happening right now. When I retired from radio, I was going to be the world's greatest youth motivational speaker. You know, I'm hooked up with Josh Shipp. I'm out here, you know, taking the courses, doing the things, talking to the kids, and then the principals and the parents kept asking me business advice. And then I realized that was the thing. It's never what you think it's going to be. You know, I thought for the rest of my life, all I was going to do was date models, spin records, host concerts, and ball out. That's what I thought, because I thought 100,000 was balling out.
Right.
Like, enjoy the journey. You've never read a book you care about, fiction or true, that there wasn't some adversity in it. Your adversity is when you need to study. That's the part. Because when you solve your problems, you'll recognize your problems in your clients, you'll recognize your problems in your customers, and you'll recognize your problems in the general public, and you will give them a solution that they will pay you over and over and over for. And that's how you kill poverty. That's how you kill lack. And that's it, man. That's what I got.
Yo, if y'all ain't catch those bars from the business bully, one of the greatest business coaches on the planet, we can't help you. We can't help you. No. If you didn't have your pen and your paper, like I told you in the beginning, then I can't help you. Oh, I can help you. Just rewind it, watch it again.
And take copious notes.
That's all. Yo, Dave, my brother.
Bro.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been an honor.
If anybody wants to connect with you, if they wanted to, you know, get some of that business bully smoke, where can they find you?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. Listen, public doesn't know this. Some people do. I'm retiring from coaching the general public.
Oh.
You know, what I'm doing is I've sold half of my business to my team.
Wow.
You know, so I retain half. They do the work.
Yeah.
But I'm doing one last cohort. So you can follow me everywhere at The Business Bully. You can go to bully101.com if you're just starting out. I'm real easy to find, you know, and I'm always giving out free games. So much I got a website called freegamealert.com.
Hey, freegamealert.com.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. All right, y'all, we are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. Follow me, Ash Cash, on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. I'll see you next time with another awesome episode. Same time, same place, in God's will. Peace.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't Ash Cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.